Hello and welcome to Work in the Verse. My name is Thor, and here are my 5 takeaways from MetaConnect 2022. These will be focused on what it means from an enterprise perspective, as this event was heavily weighted this way. Let's get started. Number 1, low key event. This year's event did not have the excitement or energy from last year, where the theme was what the metaverse could be one day. Overall, it felt like they were trying to tell investors that it's steady as it goes and that Meta would be around for years to come. Number 2, MetaQuest Pro. The headset that we were waiting for last year was finally announced, but maybe it wasn't quite what we wanted. When you put a VR headset on for the first time, there's definitely a wow factor. It goes away quite quickly though, and even more so now as VR has matured enough that for the most part it just works. When new technology doesn't move the needle much on the surface, it tends to disappoint. This is just the beginning of the Pro series of headsets. This was messaged multiple times in the event, but it was a quick raise and dismiss, so you may have even missed it. For more of my reactions about the Quest Pro, watch the video, What's the Meta with Quest Pro? Number 3, Microsoft Teams is coming to Quest. A new partnership is forming between Microsoft and Meta. Microsoft Teams will be a client that you can install on your Quest 2 or Quest Pro headset. For even more flexibility, the plan looks to be where you can join a Teams or Workrooms meeting interchangeably. So that leads us to several questions. How will corporate environments handle this new integration? Microsoft encourages organizations to allow others from outside of corporate walls to join, but there's the reality, a lot of companies don't want to do that. Number 4, Meta is starting the process of monetizing avatars. Not too surprising here, as Meta is looking for ways to monetize avatars. The idea of small purchases is nothing new, but it's a first step for Meta. I have mixed feelings about this. For example, how much of the sale will go to the creator? Will they take a 30% cut, which is still typical in an app store? How will artists and creators be promoted? How will companies handle the aspect of personalization? Will they only permit company-branded clothing and accessories, for example? Number 5, and this is the big one. Is this the beginning of the end of innovation? Virtual reality and augmented reality is hard. Smartphones used to be hard too. Virtual reality is maturing, but like so many other innovations before it, there's a lot of guesswork to find out what's cool and what really works. Meta partnering with Microsoft and Accenture is a big deal. You're going to hear this a lot, and I heard it at Meta Connect, and that's the concept of scale. Consumer focus is individuals, while companies, it's the entire workforce. It's why companies tend to focus on Apple more than Android devices. When you have one company and a handful of devices, it is so much easier to manage than several companies with hundreds of possibilities. A walled garden, as Apple is known for, is just easier. From a business perspective, it just makes sense. This is where Meta is making that play to be that one provider. By partnering with Microsoft and Accenture, they're hitting the triangle, providing the equipment, locking down the equipment for consistent deployment, and then having knowledgeable consultants who can tell you what works and how to deploy it to your workforce at scale. The focus is not innovation per se, but rather getting more people in headsets. Sounds great, right? Well, maybe. Companies are figuring out quickly where the immediate opportunity for making money will be in the enterprise. Consumers are unpredictable and are one-off sales. Once you buy a headset, you won't be rushing out to consistently buy a new headset. Enterprises have been conditioned for at least a decade now to buy into subscription services. They might not like it, but they know they have to continue to stay in the game. Meta is coming to this realization as they're relaunching their business program. They're creating a walled environment with the illusion of being open with Microsoft and Accenture. So, why might this be the end of innovation? Going back to what I said earlier, companies like simple. If they can go through one partner to get a decent solution, it just makes sense to do that. Meta's approach will make it much more difficult for other companies to earn your business. This will not only affect higher-end VR headset makers like Vario and Pimax, but even companies that are providing deployment services. In effect, the big three are planning what they think VR and AR should look like for everyone. By having this solution in place, they're intentionally making outside innovation more difficult. One company that may be positioned to get enterprise business at scale is Pico. They have several headsets that have been the only viable alternative to the Quest headset. I think Meta's move is to counteract that advantage by having a complete package. This will also get them in a better position when Apple is ready with their VR headset. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Apple push its business services too. Will this impact the individual consumer? Probably. Innovation may come at a slower pace as the focus turns to the enterprise, and we'll also continue to see more misses than hits, but maybe not as dramatic as we did in 2022. For more on that, check out our upcoming video on Promises Promises. Was 2022 a VR miss? So, there's my 5 takeaways from this year's Meta Connect, and thank you for watching until the end. I would love to hear your thoughts on my 5 takeaways. And also, did you attend this year's event? Why or why not? And what were your takeaways? If you haven't done so already, please like the video and subscribe. Until next time, take care.